Message from Nam is an okay film. This was released in 1993. It's directed by Paul Wendkos, written by Suzanne Klauser, based on the novel by Danielle Steele. And we have a cast including Jenny Robertson, Nick Mancuso, Ed Flanders. We have Rue McClanahan. It's because of Rue McClanahan that I became aware of this. Wasn't sure if I'd love it. And I definitely didn't love every second of it. It's also tremendously long at about, I think, just under 3 hours, actually. It was a television film, so obviously it would have been broken up with adverts and things. It might have even been aired on multiple nights. I'm not sure if it was aired on one day or not, but if anybody knows anything about that, please feel free to share. And it's the story of journalist Paxton Andrews, who decides to go to Vietnam to report on the war so that people back home know exactly what's happening and they know exactly what it's like. And it's about that journey, how it might change her as a person, the relationships that may develop at that time. And yeah, I don't feel like it has any business being as long as it is. It took over an hour to establish the main narrative, and that's not an exaggeration. I didn't write down the exact time, but I did write down that the main narrative was established just over an hour into it, and they could have done that within 10-15 minutes. Yeah, maybe 30 minutes to establish it would have been okay, but we didn't need an hour to establish the narrative. So it's basically 2 hours of actual story and an hour of building up to the narrative. Not great, but after that fact, it's not terrible. The story, after it's established, is well enough written. There's a lot of emotion. The characters are believable. I am far from an expert on the Vietnam War, so I don't know how believable certain aspects of the narrative would be. But certainly for me as a viewer, it was easy enough to buy into the story. The characters were well written. They're likeable enough. Gorgeous music. Great camera work and lighting. Some visually satisfying locations. It's quite nice to look at. Once we got over that hour-ish hurdle, it definitely was an interesting story. Again, I don't know how accurate it would be. I don't know if things would play out like this in real life, but I also don't have any reason to believe it wouldn't be realistic. So I took everything with a pinch of salt, but generally, after the first hour or so, it became quite interesting. And yes, I know we need a bit of time to meet the characters, to set the scene, or to set the initial scene, but we don't need over an hour. Definitely not. So the pacing was an issue, but that aside, it was an interesting enough story. I wouldn't watch it again. Even if it were shorter, I don't think I'd watch it again. But as a one-time watch, I guess Message from Nam is interesting enough. I've never read the novel. If you know how it compares, please feel free to share. But for me, it was okay. I wouldn't watch it again. It's certainly not perfect. But if it does sound like your kind of story, then I'd say maybe it's one that's worth watching.